good morning. Not many people said that, but good morning. And my name is AAlexander. And for my senior project, my topic was improving the home environment of children. And I kind of got on this topic since I'm interested in the social work realm, more so probably due because my mom's a social worker, so I've been around that sort of environment my entire life, going into work with her. So I was kind of interested in figure out more things, and I also like working with children most of the time, as anyone could say. I like working with children, so I was like, social work, children, hand in hand. Let's find something that'll go along with this. So for my question, for my research, I decided to look into things. I, my question was, what are things that can be detrimental to a child's development, and what can be done to help improve it in any way? And when I was looking for an internship, which is sort of how I got into forming my question, I had an issue trying to figure out what place I was going to work with. I originally wanted to work with the Women's Initiative in Charlottesville, and so I contacted them, but that didn't work out because I wasn't 18 and different issues with that. So I looked further on their website to see who all they had on there because they had a list of different organizations in Charlottesville that they partner with. And so I found Jefferson Area CHIP, which CHIP stands for Children's Health Improvement Program, which kind of helped me figure out my topic title. So I contacted them, and they got back to me, and they said that I could work with them. So I came in, and on my first day, and I got to meet with my mentor, whose name is also Alicia, which is pretty cool. So I got to work with Alicia. She's a family support worker at CHIP, and the way that they have it set up there is that they have two family support workers on a team and a nurse, and they get different families referred to them from different organizations such as Department of Social Services in Charlottesville or WIC or different places like that. So I got to learn about the referral process and how families get referred to them and then what all they do. And I also got to go on various home visits with Alicia. And Alicia's target group of people that she worked with home visits were more so refugee families. So I got to um, more so go on home visits with families from the Middle East. So I got to see how they more so interact with each other. And then I also got to go on a home visit with another family support worker on Alicia's team, and I got to meet a family that was from Africa. So it was pretty interesting to see how different families interact based off of how my own family interacts and just to see the similarities and differences. So I thought that was really interesting. And also, when I was interning at CHIP, it wasn't more so that I could really do too much hands-on stuff because there's a specific program that they use during their home visits. It's called Parents as Teachers, which is what's in these little handy-dandy bags. So when they go on their home visits, they have target. So this list right here has the targets that each home visit is supposed to cover for certain age groups for each child. And they work with children from very young up to kindergarten, and then after that the family sort of graduates. So I got to work with families from the beginning stages of working with CHIP all the way to pre-graduation stage of the families. So it's cool to see how it was very different for the first home visits where they get introduced to the program, and then maybe the last home visit where they're like, okay, well, we're getting ready to graduate you from the program. So it was nice to do that, and I got to understand more of how that works, which helped more with what I wanted to do. And so then after that, I went on to my community service, but I didn't really know what exactly I could do that would be really related. So I kind of talked with my mom and also with my peers, and I was like, well, I guess I could do a blanket drive. So I got the people of my church together, and I asked them if they could collect blankets for me. I distributed them to the Nelson County Food Pantry on one of their food distribution days. And I only collected 20 or so blankets. So after I did this, I was kind of like, well, that's not really, it didn't really feel like it was enough. So I remembered that with CHIP, when they do these home visits, they like to use recycled items such as egg cartons and toilet paper rolls for their learning purposes with CHIP, so that the parents don't feel as if they have to go out and buy these expensive items to help teach their children different things. So they'll use the egg cartons for matching activities or different things like that. So I went back to my church because they were really reliable for my first drive, and I asked them if we could do a recycled items drive. So I got them to collect toilet paper rolls, paper towel rolls, and egg cartons for me, and it was actually a huge success. I actually collected a whole lot more toilet paper rolls than that, but a good portion of them were either smushed, and I did not think that counting all these would be good because I probably lose track. And I got over 100 of those. I got 20 or so paper towel rolls, and I got over 50 egg cartons that I was able to give to Chip. Actually, I went there last Thursday, and I dropped them off, and they were really appreciative of everything because they're always talking about needing to bring in more things, recycled items to use for their home visits. So it felt really good to be able to say, hey, this is something that they're going to use for a long time because they're always looking for these items, and they won't have to scrounge around and look for empty egg cartons and wait for them to eat all their eggs. They could bring them in. So it felt really good to be able to take that to them, and I actually felt like finishing my community service was actually done, and I felt like I had reached a good standard for ending it. And so that was my project. And for the future ahead, not just me, but also for future seniors, as everyone else has said, don't procrastinate because it really hindered not only me, but also a number of students in here. But also figure out what you want to do early. Think of something. Like I had an idea of what I wanted to do this summer before senior year, and I was like, okay, I'm going to do this. And then I did absolutely nothing over the summer related to this internship. So when I came into class, I was like, Miss Taylor, I don't know what to do. So that took a lot of asking around to figure out, and I ended up finally getting to my topic to do this. And after doing all this, it really helped me figure out that I want to continue to do more with social work when I go off to college, which I will be going to the College of William and Mary this fall to either study psychology or social work and potentially minor in Spanish. And yeah, so that was my project and my presentation. So I'll take any questions.
When you said you had a lot of families that worked on movies and whatnot. Do you ever encounter any cultural differences where they weren't very open to any ideas that were presented to them?
Well, they didn't really seem like they weren't open to anything because all the families that I went to, they'd already had like their first initial visit. So when they go on these home visits, the families can say whether or not they actually want to continue to work with them after they've been referred to CHIP. So most of the families are pretty open about doing the different things. So it'll be like they're open to working with CHIP and continuing to do with them. So it was a little difficult for me because the families that were from the Middle East, most of them needed a translator. So I was more so interacting with the children than I was with the mothers, because generally it was the moms that were at home with the children.
So did somebody go with like a translator?
Yes, a translator from UVA would meet us at whichever home we went to, and so that was nice.
Also, what do you see as your legacy?
My legacy I would see as more so my recycled items that I collected from church and was able to give back to CHIP, because I know that they will be used for all of their different home visits that they go on.
Yeah, I think your topic was very interesting. I like stuff like that. My question is, you mentioned that the families you worked with, or that CHIP was working with, the program you were helping, mostly served families with young children. And I was wondering if these families continued to receive services from CHIP as they got older, or if the program like stopped when they went to elementary school, or what kind of follow-up is available to them after that program?
Well, after the families are sort of graduated from the program, sometimes the families will actually call and check in, and I thought that was really neat because I was at the office with Alicia one day and she got a call from one of the families. It was like, hi, just letting you know how everything's going. And I was like, I want to do that. I want like to be able to leave that impact on somebody where they'll feel the need that, hey, after you did all this work, I really just want to thank you for everything that you did for me. So that really helped me in wanting to know to continue to do this. But so generally the families are graduated and they'll sometimes keep in contact, but they don't really like go out of their way. But also some families end up getting referred back to the program when they have more younger children coming up. So yeah.
Thank you.
Yes.
First, I'd like to pay you a compliment and applaud you for going back to your community service after feeling that you had not done enough with the blanket drive. I think it really says a lot about you and your passion for this project that you also collected the recycled goods. So well done. Yes, yeah. My question for you is, could you more specifically answer your question for us in what is detrimental to a child's development and what can be done to help improve? And perhaps tie that into what was provided in the parents as teachers bags or the home visits.
So I basically got my question from after going on my first home visit with Chip, so I realized like more so what they do. So the different things like the home visits and like going in to like check on the families and see how the children are doing and like asking different questions because they'll ask how the children are doing in school and different things like that and see like how they're behaving at home and interaction with their siblings, which I thought was interesting to see from different families from different areas. And sorry. But some things that can be detrimental could be just where a family lives, just like the interaction that the child has within their family, like with their siblings or with their parents. And it could also be like their economic status that can and it also can't have an impact on the child depending on how the family goes about really focusing on their economic status with how it'll reflect on their lives.
And then what part of the home visit or the parents as teachers bags specifically addressed improving the quality of life at home?
So the parents as teachers more so get the parents more involved with helping the children learn. So it'll help prepare them for school in a way so they'll already be ready to learn so they'll know like basic things like matching as I mentioned before or different things like that. So that's how it's more so helps them. So it's not just Chip being the people that are doing all this work for the children. It's so that they can get the parents involved as well to help teach their children on a day-to-day basis when they're just at home. Any other questions? No? Oh, yes.
Yeah, probably do a lot with reading.
Yes. Yes. So also with every home visit that we go on, well that they go on, I said we because anyway, with every home visit that they go on, they also make sure to take a book they try to take a book for each small child that's in the family. So each home visit they go, and Alicia was always like, hey Alicia, go and pick out a book. And so there'll be like little children's books, like maybe a Dr. Seuss book, or like a book about trucks for the little boys, or books about farm animals. And so we take them and give them to the children during the home visit. So that's more so what I was doing during the home visits. I would like go through the books and read through them with the kids while Alicia was talking with the moms and like conversing with the translator and things like that. So I got a more hands-on approach with the children than I did with the parents. That was fun. Any other questions?